Steve Moran here with Senior Living Foresight. And today I'm talking to Nate O'Keefe, who is the founder and CEO of Roobrik, a company that is completely sold out, helping senior living communities do a better job of telling their story. So I always hear the name Roobrik, and I think Rubrik's cute, but that's not it at all. So I want to actually start. I know what you do, but I'd actually like to have you start by talking a little bit about what you do for the senior living industry.
Well, thanks, Steve. Again, it's so good to be here. In a nutshell, Roobrik works with senior living providers to help more prospects and their families choose senior living. It works by focusing on that really large audience of consumers, both older adults, prospects themselves, and family members who are actively researching online. They're on senior living websites, but they're not reaching out, usually because they're not sure about timing, they're not sure about their needs, they're not sure about their options. For providers, Roobrik looks like a simple tool that you add to your website to generate more leads and better leads. A pretty simple, basic equation, but it works consistently well. Our clients will generate an average of about 30% more leads immediately. The day they put that on their site, they're going to see that lift. And then those leads tend to move in twice as often as their other web leads. So that's where you kind of get to that better, more leads, better leads. It all happens pretty instantaneously.
So stop, hold on a second. So I got wait. I want to just come back to this. So 30% more leads and twice the move in rate. That is crazy good. Okay, continue on. I kind of get worked up about that.
Sure.
So talk to us a little bit more about how that works.
And we actually often do the math for that for when needed. If you're getting 100 leads today, you're going to get 130 with Roobrik. And so it's that simple, it's that predictable, and that reliable. And a lot of the magic is the experience that the prospect or family member has. To them, it looks like a friendly conversational survey. They're often in a period where they're trying to develop trust. And this is designed to really to do that, to help them become more trusting and to help that provider earn that consumer trust. It's actually a marriage of kind of two technologies. One are these tools used by clinicians, by doctors to help people make better medical decisions. And the other are online recommendation engines. These are those data-driven decision support tools that might help you pick out an insurance plan or pick out, make a decision about a car. But we're actually quite a bit more sophisticated because the decision to move to a senior living community is so much more complex. The stakes are so much higher, and we've had to make our tools more sophisticated in response to that.
That's really cool. I keep thinking maybe this is I need to figure out how to put on Senior Living Foresight's website or something. I don't know how that would work. But anyway, so we're in a brand new year. There was a lot of anticipation that once we got past the beginning of the year and the holidays, that there would be an uplift in move-ins. Early indication that, in fact, that's not happening, that we continue to see some declines in occupancy and declines in move-in. So when you look at 2021, what are you seeing? How are you feeling? Are you optimistic, pessimistic? Where do you see opportunities? Just talk to me about what you're seeing and what you're thinking.
Yeah. Well, I am by nature an optimist, but I kind of put an asterisk there and say I'm a data-driven optimist. I'm an optimist when I see evidence that supports optimism, and I want to convey our belief that the industry can not only recover but can expand, and I believe that can happen by bringing new people to the market, by empowering them to make decisions sooner. We firmly believe, and the evidence that we produce backs this up, and I've said this to you before, Steve, that if everyone in this country who was a good fit for senior living, who in their gut kind of knew that this was the right choice, if each of these people was empowered to make that choice, I firmly believe that the industry would see an inventory problem and not an occupancy problem. We're just now sending out our customer letter for the year, and it's going to be public on our blog, but we titled it The Option of First Resort. This is obviously a play on the industry reputation that many folks don't make this choice until they have to, but we believe that with the right education, the right decision support, it can begin to change that story for a large number of potential residents and their families.
Cool. So what you're really saying is that the challenge that we have is that there are enough people out move in to really to fill every unit that exists plus some. And the challenge is that right now people are effectively making, I don't know, do I dare say this, the wrong decision that gives them a suboptimal experience of living at home alone rather than senior living. So can you talk a little bit more about how we help prospects make the decision that's, and I'm not talking about this just from a dollar sense, because I really believe senior living is a better option. How do we help them make better decisions and see that senior living is the right choice for them or for their loved one?
Yeah, I've been really excited to see the tone changing for how the industry is talking and thinking about this. Really, even in just the past week, a couple of things jumped out at me. One was the video you did with just last week with Brian from Nick. You asked him what recovery might look like, and the first thing he said, and I wrote this down, was, how do we ensure that the value prop of senior living is adequately communicated to potential residents and their adult children in a way that gets folks moving back in? It's all about the story that's being told. And then a day or two later, I was reading Senior Housing News. Frank Vetter, from the CIO at LCS, was talking about helping potential residents make engaged and informed decisions. And that's not language that we've seen before. I think that's a huge positive. For providers, I think this means, of course, looking at tools like Roobrik. It means investing in nurturing folks with marketing automation or however you're doing it, who are interested but unsure. It means making sure that your messaging acknowledges this uncertainty and is transparent about that. I think you can't build trust with this segment of the audience if they just feel like they're being marketed to. They need to feel like you're an advocate for what's best for them. And then that needs to be reflected in every communication and contact that you have. This is not a heavy lift for so many people. This is great. Salespeople do this intuitively. And I'd say the vast majority of our partners, that's the way they train their sales teams. Be a helper first. Roobrik is just a way to help you do that before that. When someone's not ready to pick up the phone, how can you send that same message to those people that are on your website but aren't reaching out yet? And that's something we're really excited about.
So in some sense, what you're saying is that when you're on a website, that people go to senior living websites because they have a problem they need to solve. And what you're really doing is helping people have clarity in terms of understanding what that problem is, and that senior living community is the best possible solution to that problem that they're trying to solve. Is that fair?
It is fair. And I think we can all, even if we're not looking for senior living, we can all empathize with that. When we're thinking about a major decision, it could be a care decision, a health decision, it could be a home remodel, it could be a purchase, it could be a school decision. All these things we think about how often we lurk on websites and a variety of websites before we do anything. I think many of us can imagine, gosh, if I only knew this about myself and about this solution, I'd call today. If there was someone I could trust that I could talk to, gosh, I wish I had that. And that's really the need that Roobrik rose to fill. Is we know those folks are out there, and we see that in that lift we generate every day. How do we make that something that everybody can take advantage of?
Cool. So last thing is, we're about out of time here, but we'll drop a link in with the video so you can actually take a look at how it works. And I love your passion. I love Roobrik's as their whole team's passion for senior living, and your commitment to the idea that it really is the answer, the right decision for many, not all, but many older people to combat loneliness and isolation. So great conversation. I appreciate it. I wish we had more time to talk.
Thank you, Steve. I really appreciate the time today.